I'm sorry, but I'm not smiling this time. I am pissed. I just did part one of compatibility of signs of Aries and Pisces on my new webcam. Here we go again. I've encountered a problem. My YouTube is not connected to my webcam. Something about the internet not connected. That just doesn't make any sense. So I tried to upload it to Facebook. It wouldn't do. Facebook went blank. I'm like, my Saturn. Let me tell you. Thank God that you guys love my content. Because let me tell you, it is a job to get these videos out to you. The universe does not make it easy. I encounter a problem at every step of the way. Oh, it's psychologically exhausting. But there's nothing I can do. There's nothing I can do about it. That's the universe. So, unfortunately, I cannot give you part one. I'm doing part two because I just refuse to do it again. Oh, I get too tired. Some of these videos I do over and over again because they're not uploading right. And I get exhausted and then I lose motivation. Now, I don't want to do that because I like to be at my best when I do every single video. So I'm not going to do part one again. When the gods permit, it'll be made available. But I'm going to proceed with my phone and do them like I was always doing them. Because it seems like that's the only way that I can do this and just leave it up to God if He allows me to have these videos smoothly be uploaded. It seems like that's not my luck. Well, anyway, that was my rant and rave. So I'm going to jump into part two of Aries and Pisces. And, I'll give a little synopsis of what I discussed in part one. And then when part one uploads, then it'll be great. But from now on, I'm just going to do the rest of my videos to the phone. Because if I encounter an obstacle, I'm left alone because I don't have a techie. My staff doesn't include a techie. And I'm going to need a techie. And I do my tapings at 3, 4, 5 in the morning. Who's going to be up to help me? Technical support. I'm going to need to be able to handle that while I'm on the air at the time that it's happening. Otherwise, it just becomes an impossibility. So, in part one, I talked basically about, the requirements of Capricorn. Well, the Capricorn man, and I talked about the Leo man, I talked about the Capricorn man, and I talked about the Scorpio man in the Aries Pisces video part one, because there's a lot of similarity. I talked about the Cancer man. These are cardinal signs, and they pretty much behave kind of similarly the same way. And I started to talk more about that in part one. I focused basically on Capricorn, Leo, even though Leo is not a cardinal signs. There's some similarities that were worth mentioning as a fixed sign along with Scorpio. Cancer and Capricorn are the cardinal signs that behave pretty similarly, because both of them express the opposite polarity. One is feminine and one is masculine. One is water and one is earth, and their motivations are rather similar. And in comparing them to the Pisces woman, and I focus most of part one, Aries and Pisces, as an Aries man dealing with a Pisces woman. Most of the video really talks about the Aries man and the Pisces woman. And here I'm going to talk about the Aries woman and the Pisces man. So when part one uploads, when the gods permit, and I don't know how, because I'm not going to redo that video again, and I thought it was good too. So I'm not going to do that again. So I'm just going to move on with the rest of the signs through my phone until this is resolved, another hurdle. Okay, I apologize for that. But dealing with the Pisces woman and the Pisces man and the Aries woman, there's a lot to say. I mean, some people might go and say, eek. You might think, what kind of havoc? Because that's the first thing that people are going to think about when they think about Aries and Pisces. What kind of havoc? Aries is like the boldest, the most brashest sign going on in the zodiac, So what is it going to do, or what does he want with a gentle, sensitive, dreamy Pisces? the softest and the most ethereal of all of the signs of the zodiac. Now, this relationship, by all intents and purposes, shouldn't work, right? And it doesn't work on paper. In theory, it doesn't seem to really be a combination that we should put as compatibility of signs, right? So then how do you gauge? There's no way to gauge. How do you gauge? Well, it's easy to say from the outside looking in that this relationship will not work or should not work because Pisces is too sensitive, too delicate. And Aries will like just run right through Pisces. But this is true if we're dealing with the Aries man and the Pisces woman. Not exactly if we're dealing with the Pisces man and the Aries woman. The dynamics are different. And like I had mentioned in part one, who's the boss? In that example, I was talking about the Aries man and the Pisces woman. And in that example, I said that the Pisces woman is in control. And the first part, which I hope you get to see. Okay, here we're dealing with the Pisces man and the Aries woman. Who will be in charge? Who will be in control? Who will be the boss? Well, in this instance, it will be the Pisces or the Aries woman. The Aries woman will be the boss. And because she, as a cardinal sign, remember, she's a go-getter and a self-starter, self-promoter, and a self-sustainer. She will hold the fort down. Mr. Pisces, question mark. Question mark. With this combination, it really depends on what type of Pisces man you're dealing with. If you know which type of Pisces man you're dealing with, believe it or not, it can actually work. Now, all of the Pisces types are going to deal with quixotic behaviors. What do I mean by that? Well, like the Gemini man, there can be two people in one. Gemini, like I mentioned, is a sign of duality. Well, so is Pisces. The Pisces man expresses more Jekyll and Hyde behavior than the Pisces woman. The Pisces woman will portray 12 different personality types as relationship to moods. Not so with Mr. Pisces. With Mr. Pisces, his moods can be volatile and change, but what really will mark the pattern of change in the whole modality of a Pisces man is his behavior. And his behavior will take two modes, two fronts. Okay? It'll take two fronts. And you're going to know right away which one you're dealing with. Is it a Jekyll or Hyde? Frick or frack? So the Pisces man is going to come in different modes, but will have two functional modalities, the negative and the good and the dark. And anything can take him there, but most probably what would, if we're talking about Mr. Pisces, unfortunately, I hate to be stereotypical, but it could be the alcohol. If this man is subject to drink, and drink, we know alcohol alters moods, and Mr. Pisces, Mrs. Pisces are very susceptible to those types of changes. And that can alter behavior and make them different people than the people who they are when they are sober. And this, like I mentioned in part one, can confuse the Aries man, if it's an Aries man with a Pisces woman. It's no different if it's an Aries woman and a Pisces man. The Pisces man can throw the Aries woman for a loop, and she would understand who he is, what's going on, and why he may function a particular way. The Aries woman will be a little bit very quick in her movements to kind of figure out what's really going on with this man. You know, it becomes almost like a form of subterfuge. She's not going to understand the motivations of this man. She will understand why he might come across the way he does. And then kind of like dismiss him. Now, the sex is good for Mr. Pisces, so she could enjoy that. But even with the good sex, you have to understand that, and this goes with any woman, gentlemen. I don't care how good you slay or sling, and a woman will love it. She'll love it. Lick her fingers when she's done with you. But understand that with every single woman of the zodiac, the dick ain't gonna be enough. It ain't gonna be enough. And talking about Mr. Pisces, who, like Mr. Libra, fancies themselves as the greatest lovers, and that they can keep a woman, the woman will never dare leave them, like Mr. Cancer. You know, and Mr. Leo, we can't leave him out of the picture because these all men have great big egos. And they feel like they got the biggest dicks in the zodiac. And that may be true. And even if they don't, what they got, whatever they know how to use, it's still not going to be enough for a woman to put up with a lot of the bullshit that can come with a good dick or a pretty face. Especially nowadays, women are waking up to a lot of stuff. You know, women are not tolerating and putting up with a lot of stuff that their sisters and their predecessors had to put up. Let's say in my generation, when I grew up in the 1980s. So understand that, the trend is heading towards, with women, it's heading towards more self-empowerment. And especially with the millennials, and it's really beginning with the millennials, especially those who were born in the 80s, mid-80s to late 80s, that particular window, maybe 1992 tops, when Pluto was in Scorpio. We are beginning to see this generation now that was born in the 80s being in their 30s or reaching their prime now. And we're beginning to see the influences that are occurring, especially with women. Remember, this is wonderful. The Pisces woman, the Aries woman she's sensual. She could be. But what is magical about the Aries woman is that she's sexy and fiery. You can't get enough with her. You can't get enough about her.